Before we can get into Word or any other Microsoft software for that matter, you need to have a little bit of orientation and vocabulary around the screen you're looking at. All right, just the basic Word screen. So again, I'm going to use terminology, and we'll periodically review various vocabulary related around the Word environment. First of all, the very top, extreme top of your screen. And by the way, I'm pulling up an article that had to do with a book review that I was doing for teaching. But again, I just want to walk you through a few things here. First of all, at the very, very top, it says 13 things mentally strong parents don't do. This is called the banner. And up in the banner, you will see the actual file name that you are working on in Microsoft. In this case, Microsoft Word. There was a file that I opened up, and the banner shows that file name at the very top. Okay. Up here in the extreme left-hand corner is the quick access toolbar. In Word, there's a couple of commands up here in the extreme upper left-hand corner. In Word, probably the most important thing you have up there is the save icon. So at any time you're working on a document, rather than doing File, Save As, so on, you can just click on that little disk icon there, and it will save your file as you do your work. And it's really important you save your work every few minutes. There is a backup feature in Word in case your computer shuts down in the middle of working, but it's a good habit to develop, whatever software you're working in, to save periodically in your file that you're working in. Okay, next we have this top command structure up here, which are your tabs. And they're going to take you to main areas of recording commands in Word. Again, a lot of you have done some kind of work in Word, but again, now we're getting into formal vocabulary when we say tabs, referring to various items that pop up here. Okay, at the very top. And then periodically, like say we open up a picture or something like that, or a drawing or something like that, another tab will appear up here in our tabs list that we call an interactive tab. So if you go in and say you want to edit a picture, you want to put a frame on it, you want to change its coloring, whatever, you'll see a pictures tab show up here. And again, that just shows up when we need it. It goes away when we don't, and it's called an interactive tab. Next on our tabs area, we have the File tab. When I click on File, like so, it takes me here to a bunch of different commands, and we're going to spend some time in the File area. Of course, the most common are the File Save, Save As, and Print areas. We'll also get into the Info area on File, Protect Document, which we could like put a password on it. Options down here at the very bottom, where you might change the look and feel of things in your file, like so. Okay. But that file area we call the Backstage view. Backstage view. So when we click on File, we are going into Backstage view. We're doing some things behind the scenes. And if you're working in Backstage view and you want to go back to your document, you just click on this back arrow up here. Take you back to your document. Okay, so that's tabs. Next, this whole thing from left to right. This was new with Office 2007. And again, tabs in this area down here, these are all common to all Microsoft software. This is what we call the ribbon. And the ribbon runs from left to right on your screen all the way across at the top. That's your ribbon. And if ever you can't see your ribbon, like it's hidden somehow, it's probably because you've collapsed the ribbon. So if I don't want to see the ribbon, what I did up here is I just right-clicked and I said collapse the ribbon. And oh my goodness, the ribbon goes away. But you want to be working so you can see the ribbon. So if you ever can't see the ribbon, go up to your tabs area, just somewhere out here up in your tabs area, and right-click. Actually, let's go right into the tabs area. Right-click and then say uncheck collapse the ribbon, and your ribbon will come back. Okay? So again, each tab up here will take you to a different ribbon. Okay, ribbon. All right, from left to right. Within each ribbon is what's called a group. I'm going to pause here just a second here. All right. Then each ribbon is something called a group, okay? And a group would be like clipboard, font, paragraph. They are like subcategories of ribbons. So we're getting into tabs, which are going to take you to a ribbon. And within each ribbon, we have what's called a group, or a set of commands categorized with a name. We call that a group. Font group, paragraph group, styles, so on. Okay? So that's groups within a ribbon. Now you'll notice that a lot of the groups have a downward right pointing arrow. Font group has a downward right pointing arrow, paragraph group, so on. That downward right pointing arrow in the extreme bottom right hand corner of each group is called a Dialog Box Launcher. Dialog Box Launcher. It takes you into another series of commands even deeper than what you would see in your group on the ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to click on, for say, the font group on the Home tab in this ribbon. I'm going to click on that Dialog Box Launcher, like so. And this takes me into a deeper command structure within Word. And you'll see some tabs up here at the top, some various options I can go into, advanced or font. Here I can change my bold, my font size, color, special features, whatever. This takes me to the old, this is like the old 2003 and before command structure for Microsoft, but it also gives me some additional layers of options for editing or formatting or whatever beyond what I might just see in the regular group up here. So again, that's called the Dialog Box Launcher. And again, we will spend some time in that area. Okay, so that's the Dialog Box Launcher. Let's go over like the styles, for example. If we look at styles, and I can, up here I just see 5 styles that I can actually see. But an important part of every ribbon and every group is a lot of these commands have a big long laundry list of things you can do. And this right here, that downward pointing arrow with the line over it, that is called the More button. The More button. When I click on that, it gives me a series. I can see all the various options I can select beyond just that first row. In this case, I've got 15 different options I can select for different types of font styles. Okay, that's again called the More button. All right, what else on this screen do we need to know? Down the extreme bottom left-hand corner is my page and words. And we can go down here. If I click on words down there, it gives me statistics on my particular document. All right. I can click down there on the page 1 of 2, and I can navigate around, stuff like that. If I right-click down there, I can turn on different attributes in my file. Right click, I say I want to know what column number I'm in or what section I'm in. I can turn on those attributes by right clicking down there and selecting a different attribute. Again, we'll review that as we go along through our Word chapters. Down here at the bottom as well are my various viewing modes. You can see that I put my mouse pointer on something and it says print layout view. And by the way, here's a real quick thing here. When I run my mouse pointer over a command on my ribbon, multi-level list, numbering, bullets, I hover my mouse over that item, and up pops something that tells me what it is. That is called a tooltip. A tooltip. The tooltip just describes what that particular command does as you run your mouse over it. Okay, that's called a tooltip. Again, I was down here in my views. This tooltip showed me that's called print layout view. That's the most common view. Here is read mode. It's another different view. And then web layout, which makes your Word document look like a web page. Okay, so like 3 different views down there. So that's your views area down there at the bottom. Out of view on my screen at the very bottom, where I might see other applications that are open, and you can't see that because that's kind of off my screen here. But that's called your workspace at the very, very bottom of your screen. Maybe you have other files open, you have other Word files open, or other applications. Down there in your workspace, you'll see icons that are currently open to whatever is open on your computer at the time. Another particular important area in the extreme bottom right-hand corner is your zoom button. Now this doesn't change the size of your print, it just changes how big you can see things. So if I want to zoom in, again, tooltip tells me that's zoom in, I can hit plus and I go to 110%, see that? Click plus again, 120%. My text is getting bigger on my screen. It's not actually getting bigger in size. I didn't change the font. I didn't make the font any bigger. I'm just changing the way I view my screen. And I can zoom in really big with my plus sign. I can go over here to my minus sign and zoom out. So I go a lot smaller so I can see more of my document, like so. Okay. Or I can left click and hold on this zoom slider. And if I left click and hold, I can drag, and I can change my zoom level on my document. Again, the default, of course, is 100%, which is a regular view. You can also change your view by going up to your View tab. And say I want to see multiple pages. I want to see all my pages in my document. I could click on multiple pages, and it shows me two. Or I could go back to 100%, like I just was at, or one page. See the whole page. Page width is another view. That's like 147%. I can also zoom here, in addition to zooming on the slider down here as well, to change my views. All right. And another thing I want to make sure I point out here is two things that you should always have turned on, speaking of your View tab up here. And you seem to get in the habit of doing this every time you open up a Word file, because it may not default. And you may not like it at first. You may have to adjust to it, okay? But the first one is to make sure your ruler is turned on. View Ruler. And when you click on your ruler, this is the horizontal ruler up here at the top. And you can see it shows me my left margin up here, which is in gray. I have a 1-inch margin. I have a right inch margin over here. Again, I've got a default of an 8.5-inch wide page. So I have 6.5 inches here in the middle that's in white that I can type on. And I have an inch on the right, an inch on the left that is my margin, which generally isn't going to have anything in it. So that's my horizontal ruler. And again, turn on your ruler by just going to your View tab and clicking on Ruler in the Show group on the ribbon, right? And over here on the left, you see my vertical ruler. Vertical ruler, what's happening up and down on my document. And again, if I scroll all the way to the top, here's my scroll bar over here on the right, by the way. I'm going to left click and hold and drag that up on the extreme right part of my screen. You can see I've got a 1-inch top margin over here on the left on my vertical ruler. Scroll down, left click and hold, drag my scroll bar down. And over here on the left, I have a 1-inch bottom margin. And I have 9 inches. Again, I've got an 8.5 by 11. My document is 11 inches long. I've got a top margin of 1 inch, a bottom margin of 1 inch. Those are both grayed. And I have 9 inches of document space to work with my margin. And again, with your scroll bar, left click and hold, you can drag your scroll bar up and down to navigate through your document. Okay? Again, just getting you oriented to some various items in your document. Now let's just do one more thing here. I'm going to highlight, and again, I can highlight a bunch of different ways. Say I want to select the word introduction. How many ways are there for me to select that? Where I can left click and hold. That's one. I can double click. That's another. Okay? There's always a bunch of others as well. Okay? Notice that when I double clicked on introduction, this little menu popped up here. Okay? This is called the mini toolbar. It has much of the same attributes or features we would see on the home tab up here in our editing area. So like in our font group up here on our home tab, it would have much the same attributes. But when I double click on introduction, that mini toolbar pops up. And here I can do some quick formatting. I can change my font size, my font type, change bold, italic, underline, so on, highlight, you name it. Okay, all kinds of different things I can do there on the mini toolbar. All right. Now another thing I want to show you is this. I'm going to go up to my, I could do it down here too, for example. Say I want to change my font color. I left clicked on that drop down arrow for font color, and up pop my font colors. And notice as I drag my mouse pointer around, first of all, the tooltip, see the tooltip pop up there? Blue accent 1, lighter 40%. What's this? Gold accent 4, darker 25. Green accent 6. Notice as I drag my mouse pointer around, look at the word introduction over there. It's changing colors. Now what this does is it allows you to see what your result is going to look like if you were to select that particular attribute, which in this case is my font color. Now I haven't selected anything yet, but it's showing me what it might look like. My tooltip here is light blue. You can see up there the word introduction is kind of a turquoise color, like a light blue. Okay, that is called live preview. Live preview. It shows me what my document would look like if I were to select that particular option. And we'll see, we'll talk about live preview a lot as we go through these lessons. But that's just an important understanding. This is something that was new, by the way, to Office 2007. Whereas before you had to click on things and wonder what it was going to look like and kind of guess and try to figure it out. But in this case, you can see what it's going to look like before you select it. So again, live preview, and I got that off of the mini toolbar. And also notice too, the mini toolbar is kind of a ghost-like image. So if I drag away from that word, you put my mouse pointer away from introduction, that mini toolbar starts to fade. Can you see that? It's kind of a ghost-like image which comes and goes. And if I go too far away from what I selected after a while, the mini toolbar doesn't come back. And if I want it to come back, I'd have to go back and reselect whatever text I wanted to edit, and that mini toolbar will come back as I need it. So it's kind of there when you need it, and then when you're kind of done with it, it just kind of disappears. Okay? So that's the mini toolbar. So a bunch of vocabulary: my banner, my quick access toolbar, my tabs, my ribbon, my group, my dialog box launcher, tooltip, live preview, like so, my zoom area down here, my page views down here, and then at the very bottom, of course, is the workspace, which is out of sight right now. But that is a flyover on basic Word features, and I'm going to say Word, I should say a lot of Microsoft software, whether it's PowerPoint or Excel or whatever, will have the same kind of menu structure in it. And this has just been an orientation to help you through that. All right, thank you for watching.